Let me ask you something very direct. Why is it that you can spend hours glued to your phone, lost in social media, binge watching shows, or playing games? Yet the moment you sit down to study, your brain suddenly feels tired, distracted, even allergic to the idea of focusing. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not smart. It's because your brain has been trained to crave dopamine in the wrong places. Think about it. Every swipe, every notification, every short video you consume is carefully engineered to hijack your brain's reward system. Your brain is literally being rewired day by day to find pleasure in things that waste your time and to find pain in the very thing that could change your life: studying. Now here's the uncomfortable truth most people never admit. Studying doesn't feel hard because it is hard. It feels hard because your brain has been programmed to reject it. It's almost like you've been brainwashed, tricked into chasing quick hits of entertainment while avoiding the deeper satisfaction of learning. And this is why so many students give up, procrastinate, or end up sabotaging themselves. But here's the twist most people never hear. If your brain can be trained to get addicted to entertainment, it can also be trained, rewired, to get addicted to studying. Yes, the same dopamine loops that keep people scrolling endlessly at 3 a.m. can be hijacked and redirected into making you obsessed with learning. Imagine sitting down to study and feeling the same rush you get when you unlock a new level in a game. Imagine your brain craving another page, another problem, another hour, because it feels good. That's not just possible, it's inevitable. Once you learn this brain hack, and here's where most students fail. They wait for motivation, as if one magical morning they'll wake up and feel inspired to study for hours. That never happens. Motivation is temporary, weak, and unpredictable. The real secret is not motivation, it's addiction. Addiction is stronger than willpower. Addiction doesn't ask you if you feel like doing something, it forces you to. Imagine if studying wasn't a choice anymore, but a natural compulsion. Imagine if your brain screamed at you to open the book, the same way it screams at you to check your phone. That's the level of power we're talking about. And once you unlock it, the world bends in your favor. Because while other students struggle, procrastinate, and waste years fighting with themselves, you'll be quietly building an advantage so massive they'll never catch up. While they're stuck in cycles of guilt, distraction, and excuses, you'll be addicted to progress. And that addiction, unlike the ones destroying attention spans everywhere, is the kind that will make you unstoppable. The truth is, the system never wanted you to know this. Schools, apps, platforms, they all compete for your attention because attention is money. And right now, they own your brain. But today, I'm going to show you how to take it back. I'm going to show you the exact brain hack that flips the script. So instead of being controlled by distractions, you'll reprogram your brain to chase studying like a drug. This isn't about discipline. This isn't about trying harder. It's about using the brain's own addictive wiring against itself. So focus becomes automatic, effortless, even pleasurable. And once you feel it working, you'll realize something terrifying. It's not that you couldn't study all this time, it's that you were trapped in the wrong loop. And once you escape that loop, there is no going back. So if you've ever struggled with focus, if you've ever felt guilty for procrastinating, if you've ever wished you could just fall in love with studying the way you fall in love with a video game, then keep listening. Because by the end of this, you won't just want to study, you'll be addicted to it. Step 1. Micro-study bursts, the trigger loop. The very first step to getting addicted to studying is understanding that your brain hates anything that feels too heavy. If you sit down and tell yourself, "I'm going to study for 5 hours straight," your brain doesn't see that as productivity. It sees it as punishment. And what does the brain do when it feels punished? It resists. It distracts you. It makes you check your phone. It makes you yawn. That's why long study sessions almost always fail at the start. So instead, you trick the brain with micro-study bursts. That means you only commit to 5 minutes of studying. Just 5. Open the book, read a single page, solve one problem, take one small note. That's all you ask of yourself. Why? Because 5 minutes is too small for your brain to fight against. It feels harmless. But here's the manipulative beauty of it. Once you start, you usually don't stop at 5 minutes. You keep going. And even if you do stop, you've already won. Because your brain remembers the feeling of completing something. That feeling of "I did it" is powerful. It's the exact same mechanism that keeps people saying, "Just one more episode," or "Just one more level." Your brain craves small wins, and micro-study bursts feed it exactly that. This step creates the first trigger loop. You make studying so small and easy that your brain has no defense against it. Step 2. Immediate dopamine rewards, the addiction switch. Now here's the core of the hack. Your brain only repeats behaviors that it links with immediate pleasure. If you study and then reward yourself 3 hours later, your brain won't connect the two. The key is to give yourself a small, instant reward right after the microburst. That reward could be anything simple: a sip of your favorite drink, a piece of chocolate, listening to 1 minute of a song, a quick stretch that feels amazing. The science behind this is brutal but simple. Your brain works like a slot machine. Each time you get a quick hit of dopamine, it says, "Oh, this behavior leads to pleasure. Let's do it again." This is why apps, games, and social media are addictive. They reward you instantly. You're now using the exact same trick. But instead of being trapped by entertainment, you're trapping yourself into studying. And once your brain gets used to this cycle, study, reward, it stops asking whether you feel like studying. It begins to crave the studying itself because it knows the reward comes right after. This is the addiction switch. And once it flips, your brain won't let you go back. Step 3. Anchor the high, the Pavlov effect. At first, you rely on external rewards like snacks, songs, or stretching. But here's where the real transformation happens. You start to anchor the feeling of progress itself as the reward. Think about it. When you solve a problem you couldn't solve yesterday, that's growth. When you understand a page you used to ignore, that's progress. Pause for a moment each time and actually feel it. Tell yourself, "This right here is proof I'm becoming smarter." By consciously celebrating progress, you're conditioning your brain to feel pleasure from the act of studying itself. This is the Pavlov effect. Just like dogs were trained to salivate at the sound of a bell, you are training your brain to release dopamine at the act of learning. And over time, something insane happens. You won't even need the chocolate or the music anymore. The moment you sit down to study, your brain itself gives you a rush because it has been rewired to believe that studying equals pleasure. That's the stage where studying starts to feel addictive in the purest sense. Step 4. Remove competing dopamine, the detox. But here's the trap most people fall into. They try to rewire their brain for studying while still drowning in dopamine from TikTok, Instagram, or endless videos. That's like trying to enjoy a glass of water right after eating 3 scoops of ice cream. Your brain will always prefer the sweeter hit. If you truly want to get addicted to studying, you must reduce or block competing dopamine sources. That means keep your phone in another room. Block distracting apps during study hours. Delay entertainment until after you've studied. When you starve your brain of high-level stimulation, suddenly studying feels like the new high. It stops being the boring option and starts being the rewarding one. This detox isn't permanent. You don't need to quit fun forever. But by reducing competing dopamine, you make studying the strongest, most reliable source of pleasure your brain can latch onto. Step 5. Chain the addiction, the compounding effect. One microburst won't rewire your brain. One dopamine reward won't anchor the habit. Addiction doesn't come from a single dose. It comes from repetition. That's why the next step is chaining the loop daily. Every single day, repeat the cycle. Microburst, reward, anchor the progress. Even if it's only 5 minutes, do it, because every day you repeat the loop, you're strengthening the neural pathways in your brain. At first, it feels forced. After a while, it feels natural. And then, one day, it feels automatic. That's when the addiction has taken root. Think of it like building muscle. You don't lift weights once and expect biceps. You train daily, and the growth compounds. In the same way, the addiction to studying compounds. Small sessions stack into hours. Hours stack into days. And before you know it, your brain no longer negotiates with you. It demands that you study. Step 6. Upgrade the stakes. The identity shift. The final step is the most powerful one. Once you've built the loop, you need to turn it into your identity. Stop saying, "I'm trying to study." Start saying, "I am a person who studies. This is who I am." Why does this matter? Because humans fight to stay consistent with their identity. If you see yourself as a procrastinator, you'll always procrastinate. If you see yourself as lazy, you'll act lazy. But if you see yourself as a learner, a disciplined person, a focused student, you will protect that identity with your actions. This is where studying stops being an activity and becomes a lifestyle. Your brain no longer studies just for rewards. It studies because that's who you are. And once you reach this point, the addiction becomes unbreakable. Studying is no longer forced. It's no longer negotiable. It's simply your default mode of living. That's the full cycle. 1. Microbursts. 2. Immediate rewards. 3. Anchor progress. 4. Remove competing dopamine. 5. Chain the loop daily. 6. Upgrade into identity. Do this, and studying will stop being a battle. It will start being an addiction. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. Most people watching this will do absolutely nothing. They'll close this video, grab their phone, scroll for hours, and keep killing their future one swipe at a time. And then, 10 years from now, they'll cry about bad luck, when the truth is, they were too weak to rewire their brain when they had the chance. But you have a decision to make. Either you let your mind stay addicted to distractions, or you twist that same addiction into an obsession with studying. One path ends with regret, failure, and self-hatred. The other path, power, control. A life people envy, but can never touch. So here's my challenge. Don't just sit silently. Comment right now. Are you going to stay a slave to your dopamine? Or are you finally ready to take your brain back?